7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh.
Here we go. We're live.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark Nugent here with Greg Raths and my co-host that will join us later. We are live, but first, roll the intro. And we're back, everybody. So I'm here with possible future Congressman Greg Raths. And I was thinking about playing your commercial, but how about tell us a little bit about yourself and the audience members, and then I want to show the new commercial you just released. I saw it today.
Yes.
It's awesome.
We've already released three 30-second commercials,
Okay.
and we just released our 60-second commercial, and it'll be playing on the local stations here in Southern California.
Awesome.
And in the special station in Laguna Woods.
Awesome. You know what? Let's go ahead and play that commercial right now for our audience. So, and
we filmed this at Lake Mission Viejo at sunrise a few weeks ago, and it took a while to put together, but it's ready to rock and roll.
So it is labeled Last Mission Final Cut. So
My last mission.
Let's watch.
I moved to Orange County in 1978 as a young first lieutenant in the Marine Corps. It was beautiful then, just as it is now. As a jet fighter pilot, I traveled around the world, the Middle East, Australia, the Far East, South America, and Europe. I saw my share of combat. 300 plus carrier landings and 75 combat missions will make you long for solid ground in coming home. In Washington, I've seen how a political crisis like an impeachment can put the country on shaky ground, threatening our unity and our national security. But I've also seen how getting involved can make a difference. As mayor of Mission Viejo, my mission has been to make this great place even better, and I did. Today, my children are having children, and I want them to grow up in a safe environment. As your representative for California's 45th Congressional District, my last mission would be to keep Orange County secure and prosperous for all of our families. I am Greg Raths, and I approve this message.
And we're back. Can you tell us a little bit about the filming and how that all went?
Yeah, just have a couple of millennials working for me, and they know how this video stuff works, and they told me to be at Lake Mission Viejo on I think it was a Sunday morning, and I had my flight jacket on, a cup of coffee, and they did the rest. They had the drone that went up, and
Awesome.
some still pictures were taken, and it was about a 2-hour revolution. Met a few people walking around the lake. We put them in the video. Then later that day, talked to some of my neighbors and took some video, and we had a great team that put it together.
All right. As I work through a quick technical question, can you go ahead and tell us more about your background as I share this broadcast a little bit?
Well, I'm 66 years old, so I'm a senior. I consider myself a senior. I'm on Medicare and Social Security, so I will take care of our seniors once I get to Washington. But let's go back, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. Big Catholic family of 8 children. I was number 5. So it was a dog eat dog in our house trying to get a scrap of food. But went off to Arizona State University, joined the Marine Corps officer program to be a fighter pilot. My father was a bomber pilot in World War II, so I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps as a military pilot. Once I finished flight training in '77, the Vietnam War was over, which was fine, and got based right here in Southern California, and I've been here ever since. Came here in '77, went right to Yuma for about 8 months for F4 training, then came back here in '78. Bought a home when I was 20, in '79, I bought a home. So I was 26, a buddy and we bought a 3-bedroom home here in Mission Viejo and been a resident ever since. I went on to serve 30 years in the Marine Corps, getting to the rank of colonel, 3 combat tours over in the Middle East, Somalia, off the USS Abraham Lincoln and Desert Storm in '91. So it was a great tour. I had 3 years at the White House, a year at the Pentagon, and so I understand Washington. And at some point, I really worked with Congress when I worked in the government military office, and someday I was kind of wanted to go back to Washington and be a representative for this area. So I've been a legal resident for 42 years here in Mission Viejo, the 45th Congressional District. Obviously on and off again, so when I did leave the area, I maintained my house. I just rented it out to fellow Marines when I was gone. So, and then I flew for JetBlue for a while, commercial airline pilot, and had a great time with that. And then I enjoyed wanting to go into business, and a buddy of mine owned a company, and he brought me in as his president. I did that for a number of years. We sold the company, retired, and went into politics. I've been on city council for Mission Viejo for 6 years now. Last year I was the mayor, so
Awesome.
I'm ready to go to Washington and represent the 45th district. I understand this district. I know the people. I was mayor of the second largest city last year, and I still sit on the city council. So I understand the people. We have a lot of veterans, 80,000 veterans in the 45th district, a lot of seniors, and one of my main things is to ensure that cemetery gets built over there in Irvine. Irvine's part of the district. Irvine is the largest city in the 45th Congressional District. And when we shut the base down, El Toro, during 1999-2000, we had asked to set aside some land for a cemetery. That kind of got put underneath the carpet for a while, but we have resurrected it, and we're working really hard. Yep. So as a congressman, I'd like to work with California representatives to get that cemetery built.
Okay. So anyway, today's topics, we're going to talk mostly policy and issue. Of course, I don't have to cough until we're live, right?
Right.
So we're going to talk policy and issue questions. Also, we're doing a new format with our Pro Studio. We're going to have questions to move into the policy, and then we'll have public comments towards the end before we close. So about 15, 20 minutes of questions. If something pops across the screen, I'll bring it up to your attention, Greg. But we'll do those at more towards the end.
Okay.
And so the viewers at home, go ahead and type up your questions. I see them coming across my screens here, and we will answer those live and unfiltered. So thanks so much for joining us. And really appreciate this. A lot of people are scared to do this, and you are no fear. It's
No,
awesome.
this is about my, 4th time?
10th, I think.
10th time.
Well,
no.
some people was like, no.
4 or 5.
Okay, so before we go too much farther into it, do you have a website people can visit to learn more about your campaign?
Yeah, you can go to my website, just my name.com, gregraths.com. It gets about 125 hits a day. Last few days, it's been spiking. Went up to 1,800 yesterday. So.
And people can volunteer here and donate?
Yes, sir. You can join the campaign. If you want a yard sign, we can run out a yard sign to your home, put it up there. And if you just want to kind of understand who I am and some of the issues, you can go to the issues page. And if you're so inclined that you like what you see, and you like what you hear tonight, you go to the donate page. So
awesome.
We always like that.
Okay, while they're still looking at your website, I hate to go down to grade school level, but we do have high school kids that watch this. This is a clean show, families, and a lot of people are unfamiliar. They're unfamiliar with Congress and how it works and what they do. So, including my own kids watch this show. So what does a congressman do? Kind of just a, 40,000 foot snapshot of it. Also follow on, a lot of people never had the chance. Also, how is Congress different than other branches of government? So for somebody like my high school, my daughter watches and stuff like that. So,
Well, Congress has two bodies. The Senate, there's 100 senators, two from each state, and that's kind of more the senior part of Congress. And then you have the House of Representatives, 435 members. California has 53 congressional seats. I'm running for the 45th. Of the 53 seats, only 5, I believe 6 now, are Republican. So we've been losing seats over the last several elections pretty significantly. Last election, 2018, we lost all of Orange County. So my job is to get the 45th back into the Republican column. I am obviously a Republican. A congressman is a legislator. You go to Washington to represent the people in the 45th district. There's 10 cities in our district. Like I said earlier, Irvine's the largest. Mission Viejo is the second largest. Tustin, Rancho Santa Margarita, Laguna Hills, Laguna Woods, Villa Park, Costa de Caza, and Lake Forest are the main cities. Anaheim Hills, Tustin, North Tustin, part of Santa Ana, and part of Orange. So it goes up to the 57 freeway to 241, and about 700,000 people, about 450,000 voters. So it's a pretty good district. So my job as a legislature is to go to Washington and represent you and write law that is best for the people here in the 45th district.
okay. You're answering my future questions, like how many voters, stuff like that. You already get into them. And I think you already answered part of this next question was, and I'll go ahead and read it, that we had here was somewhat unfamiliar with the city, county, state, and federal governments. Can you talk a little bit how it all ties in? Also, what is the appropriate issues to take to your congressional rep? Oftentimes viewers contact me to contact you actually about, but sometimes not the correct office. Sometimes there might be a lower office, a school board or city council or water board that isn't Congress. So can you talk about some of the issues that is appropriate to bring to your office after you get elected?
Yeah, the congressional, we're a federal office, obviously. So we spend 6 months here out of the year. We're 6 months in Washington, writing law, passing budget. One thing I want to bring back to Washington that has not been there for a long time, and obviously I'll be a junior congressman, so it'll be pretty hard, but I do know several of the congressmen back there. A good friend of mine is a congressman in Michigan. We served together in the Marine Corps. He's a retired 3-star general. And when he was commanding officer of the 4th Marine Air Wing, I was his chief of staff when he was a 2-star when I was a colonel. So when I go back there, I do know enough people to help me out. But the one thing I like to see, and it'll be hard to push, is it's called regular order, where basically throughout the year, throughout the fiscal year, which begins October 1st, they start working on the budget for the 12 appropriation bills. Obviously, you got the Pentagon bill, energy, housing, and things like that. So each of these bills are talked to and discussed on subcommittees. I hope to be on a subcommittee for the armed forces. And then throughout the year, you start voting on the bills, and then you vote for appropriations to appropriate the bills. And then around summertime, they go over to the Senate. The Senate works on their bills. They put them together, each one by one. Then one by one, the bills goes to the president for his signature. Unfortunately, in the last probably 20 years, they've been getting away from regular order, and they can't get the budgets passed. The two parties can't get along to get a good budget, and out comes this huge bill around Christmas time, and we've already entered the fiscal year where they're using money that hasn't even been appropriated yet, so it's called a continuing resolution. So hopefully we get back to regular order and pass some good law.
Okay.
And that's number one. I think our president has done a wonderful job, but one area we really have to work hard on is discipline of the finances.
Okay. I want to talk about the boundaries of the 45th in a second, but I want to address some questions coming across the screen. Those of you that are typing up questions and comments, we will get to those in a few minutes.
Hey, Bonnie. I see Bonnie Silver. What's up, Bonnie?
But I just want to ask you about the boundaries of the 45th Congressional District, and I threw up a map on the screen.
Yeah, there it is. It goes, as you can see, it goes all the way up to the 91, and then down pretty much to this side of the 241. Mission Viejo to the south. You got Irvine to the west, Trabuco Canyon, then all the way up north to Villa Park and Anaheim Hills. And so everything by the 241 it's west of the 241 is the populated area. Silverado area is pretty much all unpopulated.
Okay.
So the majority, again, is Irvine. That's the biggest city, followed by, like I said, Mission Viejo, then Lake Forest.
Okay.
So I know these people. I know all 10 mayors and councils in the city. We get along. I have a high respect for each of the mayors and each of the councils. So as a representative in Washington, I will come back and talk to each of the councils, either if they want me at one of their meetings or if they want me at a closed session or whatever. Our new congresswoman, I have not seen her. Here we are, the second largest city in the district, and she has yet to come talk to our council on, hey, is there anything in Washington you need me to do? And she's been in office now over a year. So I'm not the establishment choice for this seat, or the special interest choice, or the elites of Newport Beach. I'm the people's choice. This has been a grassroots campaign. We've been out talking to people, knocking on doors, getting out the name, and so the people who vote will vote for Greg Raths. And we've had a really good response talking to all the people out there in the district.
Awesome. I think my next question we had was about approximate amount of voters. You said what is about
425,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But in a primary, you're going to see probably 30% voting.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So, here, put it back on me. So you've served in office in a while in various positions. What do you find most rewarding about the positions you served?
As an elected official?
Yes.
I've been sitting on the city council, Mission Viejo. Like I said, I'm in my 6th year. I'm in my 2nd term. Last year when I was mayor, it was probably the greatest job I've ever had, and I've had some pretty cool jobs, flying jet fighters and all. Yeah. But just the fact you could walk into a business and say, "Hi, I'm Greg, the mayor, and what can I do for you?" And then they all have something they want you to do. And I really took notes and made sure that they would, if I could help them in any way, I would. And I'm a big proponent of the Mission Viejo Chamber of Commerce. I work real hard with small business because small business keeps the city running. We bring in about $60 million a year from from taxes, and we want to use that money responsibly because I know those business people work hard for that money. And when they give us a portion of it, which is usually a 1% sales tax, we want to use it responsibly. So to answer your question, I've just loved sitting on city council, and I would love to be not just Mission Viejo, but cover the whole district as your congressman.
Yeah, you were a very well-known mayor when you were Mayor Mission Viejo.
I loved it.
I talked to people before they got involved. They knew who you were before you started running for Congress way back in the way. Even in other cities, they knew you. So.
Well, I love Don Wagner, who was the mayor there in Irvine. He's now our supervisor. I believe he's running again. So if I'll put a plug in for Don Wagner, he needs 50 plus 1 votes, and he doesn't have to go on to November. So if he can do that, he's done, and he can then help me to take on Katie Porter after the March 3rd primary. But another position, I sit on the Orange County Veterans Advisory Council.
Okay.
I was, for the Board of Supervisors, I was appointed by Lisa Bartlett, who's our the 5th District supervisor, and I'm the vice chairman.
So you're a fellow commissioner then? Awesome.
I am a commissioner. No, I'm a councilman. I'm a councilman.
On the county level?
The Board of Supervisors.
Okay, that's what they call it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a councilman. And our job is the 120,000 veterans in Orange County. And we oversee all the support for those veterans, ensure that they get the support they need. And another thing, there's no veterans hospital here. I thought once El Toro closed or Tustin, they'd put up a VA hospital. So we all have to go to, all the veterans, we have to go to either Long Beach or down to San Diego. So if we could get a veterans hospital, and let me just say about the VA, ever since President Trump, it's really gotten well. And I use the VA system just to ensure how it goes. I don't have to because I'm on Medicare and TRICARE for life. Yep. But I use the VA system just to keep an eye on what they're doing. And I go to there's a clinic in Laguna Hills, and they're amazing people.
Well, we got some policy questions on medical care for you.
All right.
This is just more.
Can I ask Bonnie's question real quick?
Sure.
Just before she leaves.
Which question? Where's Bonnie?
Right here. She wants to know.
You can read it.
I wanted to ask you if you have contact for who hires for the Mission Viejo concerts in the park and for the lake. Now, Bonnie, the lake is separate. The Lake Mission Viejo Association, it's a separate association. The city does not control it. They own the lake. They own the concerts. So you would have to talk to the board over there at the lake. They meet once a month. I believe once a month or twice a month for their council, for their meetings. The city handles all the concerts at the parks around Mission Viejo. There's a guy named Mark Nix, Nix, who works at City Hall, and that's his job and his department. So those are the two areas here in Mission Viejo that you would go to get some help on who's going to be into concerts.
Okay. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to knock out the questions. So just some quick, fast question round. So how long do you want to serve in Congress?
Well, I would like to serve, and trust me, I will, if I get elected, and I promise I'll get reelected because I'm going to be back here working with the people, and
Awesome.
you will see me. So I would like to do 6 terms.
Awesome.
Obviously,
Okay.
that's plenty. I'll be in my 70s, and that's enough. And I'd like to turn it over to some young person who's ready to go to work in Washington.
Awesome. I got another important question here. Not only how long have you lived in the 45th district, but also do you live in the 45th congressional district?
Yes, I've lived in this district. I've been a homeowner in this district 40 years. I've lived on and off the district for over 25 years. And there's 6 of us in the race. There's 6 Republicans in the race. There's 1 Democrat. The top 2 moved to the general election. Obviously, number 1 will probably be Katie Porter, the only Democrat. And there's 2. You don't have to live in the district. There's 2 candidates that don't live in the district.
But,
The Constitution says you have to live in the state.
But you do.
But I do, yes.
That doesn't matter.
But I'm not going to put anybody down if they don't. But I'm just saying I know
Okay.
these people pretty well.
Also, want to get to a big endorsement that you got that I think, honestly, in my professional opinion, kind of puts you over the edge, I think. So this question always comes up really quickly, especially for people that meet you the first time via live stream. And why do you want to run for Congress? I don't know, in a few sentences, why do you want to run for Congress?
I've been in service my whole life, from 8 years old as a Cub Scout to 11 years old as a Boy Scout, became an Eagle Scout. So that's where I learned to serve and help people. I love helping people. Obviously served in the military for 30 years and served on city council. So this is just a progression of my life. This will probably be my final mission in life, to serve the people of the 45th District and help the people of the 45th, keep them safe, and keep them prosperous. Life is good here, but it can be better. The taxes are pretty significant, so we want to ensure those that live here have the least amount of burden with taxes and healthcare. I think we'll talk about that, and immigration issues.
Okay.
But my job is to legislate.
Okay.
I'm a fiscal conservative. I like to see the budget come under control, and I'm also a social conservative.
Okay. We had a quick question. Someone wanted to ask, how can they donate to your campaign? And I know there's a lot of questions coming across my screen, and I promise we'll get to your questions. For those of you that just came with the comment that came to my other screen, just go to Greg Raths right here, gregraths.com, and click the donate button if you, for the person that just texted me that. Okay.
You put in a credit card number. It's 100% safe. It's an antidote. It's a great program. We use a very safe program.
Okay.
Once the money arrives, it goes directly to our bank account, and then we register you as a donor. If you give more than $199, you have to put down your occupation. We do ask you to put your occupation, even if you put $50, because maybe in some future date you might put in some more and reach that 200 point.
So I noticed you're wearing a nice button there. And but I don't mean to cut you off, sir. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Who has endorsed your campaign? Because I heard you just got a big endorsement.
Well, let's start with the Combat Veterans for Congress Political Action Committee. It's a group of retired military officers and enlisted that go around and help military officers that are running. So I'm very proud of that. The SEAL PAC, which is Navy SEALs, they have a political action group in Washington to protect those that are retired in Navy SEALs. So those are 2 military organizations, but the one I'm most proud about that I just received yesterday is the Greater Irvine Republicans, which is an amazing organization of over, I believe, 500-600 members that was recently put together last year by a gentleman named John Park, who lives in Irvine. They were trying to boost the Republican logo and the name in Irvine, and they've just taken off. I mean, they're on their own. I believe they're not affiliated with the Orange County Republican Party. They just wanted to do this, and every time they have a event on I believe they meet once a month for dinner. It's been a sellout crowd, and they gave me the honor several months ago when I was first running to talk to their group, and then last month we had a candidates forum, And the 6 of us were up there. Oh, actually, as a 4 of us, you had to have $50,000 donation. So 2 of the candidates hadn't had that much yet. And then there's a straw poll taken by all the members, and apparently I won that, so I received their endorsement. So that is very good, because if you want to win this district, you have to win Irvine, and these guys are going to help me with all their volunteers. I believe they have over 100 volunteers ready to go to work, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Awesome. So I put your graphic up there, as if you noticed I was fumbling around, so I got the graphic. And I know a little bit about the group. They asked me to wear their button as well, so put the camera on me. So to support you, and I hate to be biased here, but when I heard it, I have to give my professional opinion that I think that puts you over the edge. I mean, no disrespect to the candidates that are great and wonderful people, but I was, wow. And I didn't know the votes. I asked what was the vote count. They didn't tell me, but the rumor is it wasn't not close.
Well, this is a great group of Republicans, also a lot of millennials in the group that want to get involved politically, for them to support me, and it means a lot, and I really thank them.
I mean, I know they have over 800 vetted members.
Is it 800?
900. Their events, 60 to 100 people, regular events, and then we were both at the Christmas dinner, the Christmas gala.
Right.
Was it 200-300 people showed up to that one?
Yeah, it was really nice down there in Costa Mesa, wasn't it?
No, it was in Irvine.
Irvine.
It was in Irvine.
That's right. Obviously, Irvine.
Not bad for a first one.
Yes, it was their first annual, but it's a great endorsement. I'm confident. I'm not overconfident. You can't be that way in politics. 3 weeks ago, a lot can happen. So we're going to continue to work hard, knock on doors. We have probably about 7 or 8 people daily doing about 100 or so each homes, and then weekends it really gets more, because most of the people are home on weekends, and we want to get eye to eye with the voters and let them know who I am. And when I talk to them, here's the thing: I've hit over 3,000 houses myself, and it's been 100% positive.
Well, I know a lot of your supporters are here, so I wanted to talk about a little more about GIR and what that means.
All right.
That means 50, 100 volunteers are going to start showing up now. I think that's what it means. I'm not in charge of GIR or Irvine at all. I'm just, I know some of them.
Are you a member?
I'm a member, but I'm not on the executive board, so I don't know the decisions. I'm not involved in that part. I know the organization, what it means, and we both, here's an example. We both know Don Wagner, right?
Right.
When he found out that the GIR endorsed him, he was jumping up and down. He was like, yes, and he was raising his hand. So I think, and he's a very calm person, I think. We're calmer than most of us.
Yeah, he's pretty calm. I haven't seen him jump up and down ever.
I don't mean to go off our script. I just wanted to let your supporters know what that means. And again, I support I like all the candidates, but I just say that's awesome. Someone told me that yesterday. Wow, that's amazing.
That's why I got their pin on, GIR pin.
So
obviously, it's a huge endorsement, and but there's been obviously several local officials, state officials that have endorsed me. So I'm pretty excited.
I think the GIR are formed actually in a response to the last election in 2018.
Right.
So every single person there is a new person that's very excited to get involved. Anyway, let me get back to the questions that we had, and we'll get to the ones coming across my screen as well. Kind of already went through all those. Oh yeah, my comment was that I was actually dared during your speech, and that was the best one I've ever heard. But unfortunately, we weren't allowed to film it. But
you didn't film my best speech?
They wouldn't allow it. I asked. They have a really strict no camera policy in that place. So, but that was
dirty rats.
Okay. Anyway, all right. I got a bunch more here.
No, but I was actually at ease. I think one of the other candidates for the 74th was there, and she went first, and then I followed up. And you just get pumped up with that group. So, anyways.
Yeah, so I've got a few more of these questions, and we're going to move to policy.
Can we take some people question?
Well, you are in charge if you'd like.
Well, you've asked a bunch already. Let's see what those are scripted. So let's go with these unscripted questions that are coming across the screen.
Awesome. Okay. But we do have the policy questions for healthcare, immigration, border security, taxes.
Let's see what the viewers want.
Economy, national security, election integrity.
Right.
And
let's see what the people want first.
Some of them actually were
related to them.
So let's go ahead and I'll put the camera on you. So look at the camera, and
I'm looking at.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw these questions, and a bunch more coming across my screen. So I'll just go down the line. So Craig,
I'll answer all of them. If I don't, I will work on an answer.
So Craig Chapman, wherever you are, he says, I'm excited and with you and excited. So happy comment there.
Thank you, Craig.
Good. a good friend of yours that I know donates heavily, Keith. He said, "Hi, boys."
Keith who?
I don't want to.
Oh, we're not supposed to use their last name.
No, I mean his last name. I can't pronounce it. It's
Okay.
Krawiec.
Yes, he owns Neighborhood Car Care in Mission Viejo. There's an amazing group over there. They take care of all your cars. They're on Via Fabricante in Mission Viejo, and we love Keith and Karen, his wife. I think they also have another shop up in the mountains, and she has a big motorhome, and they're enjoying life right now.
Okay. So Kristen Marie says, "Love new commercial." Catherine Ann Elizabeth, I think you know that person.
Yes,
Such a
my
good
daughter.
person.
She's a school. My daughter's a school teacher in Irvine. I believe 6th grade, and she just loves it. Maybe I think this year she might be 5th grade, but a great school there in Irvine. The Irvine Unified School District is very, very good.
Okay. Your former rival says, "Excellent ad," and now supports you.
Oh,
Ray Genoway
Ray,
just says,
hey,
"Excellent ad."
Thank you, Ray.
So I think that's awesome when someone that was running against you stepped down and supports
No,
you.
Ray's a great guy. He's a assistant DA, district attorney, and just all around good guy. I believe he's a member of the GIR, right?
Yes, he is. He's an executive
member.
So he must have voted for you.
Well, I know that at the candidates forum we had, he was the moderator, and he had some pretty tough questions for us, which was good because some of these Republican forums we've had have been some softballs, and I'd like to have a few hardballs.
Ray is a good prosecutor from what I heard.
Yes, he's a hell of a prosecutor. And he worked for a congressman for a while.
Did he?
believe. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he worked for a congressional office.
Okay. So we have lots of good comments. I'll just kind of go through the comments there.
Well, if they're good comments, let's talk about
a lot of
them.
happy well wishers.
Thank you.
A lot of them are not questions.
Is
They're
anybody
just-
watching?
We've got maybe close to 1,000 so far,
All right.
but we get a lot in replay. So great commercial.
1,000 people gave me $1,000 each. I can just walk out. That'd be $1 million.
So just a
Or
bunch of good
100,000,
comments. I'll go through these.
100,000.
Linda
Nah.
Farrell, Kristen Murray.
Linda's my sister-in-law, my wife's sister. She lives in Pennsylvania, small little town of Youngwood. Hey, Linda, say hi to Tom. He's probably doing taxes. He's a tax guy.
Kristen Marie says hi, Grandpa.
Yes, Kristen. That's my daughter and her two beautiful daughters, Alyssa and Julia.
So
Julia
we have a very
JKK.
Well, I cannot ignore your granddaughter's question. She said, "What coffee are you drinking?"
Actually, this is a Starbucks it's a medicine bomb. I've had a cold for the last 3 weeks. I lost my voice about a week ago, right in the middle of all these forums, and I was not heavily medicated, but taking a lot of lozenges and stuff. So it's a medicine bomb. You can get it at Starbucks. It's a tea with some honey, and it's really soothes the throat.
Okay. So now Stuart Brenner hits us with the first policy question. So he says, "How can we fix immigration problems that California liberals are exacerbating?"
Yeah, this is tough. I'm just so disappointed in the Congress that we had the first 2 years of the Trump administration, when we had the Republicans own the White House and all of Congress, and we didn't tackle immigration. And now with the Democrats in charge of the House, we got the Republicans own the Senate, and obviously the White House by Donald Trump. It's going to be hard, but I'll follow the same path that President Trump is doing. He's trying to secure the border, which has been amazing, especially down in San Diego area along the border, and has stopped the flow of illegals coming in, but most importantly, the flow of drugs, and also the flow of these traffickers. They actually bring these young girls and traffic them through Mexico on their way up to the United States, and then they have houses within the states where they take them, and they don't let these girls out. So, and also it's helping as the wall goes up, people aren't trampling back and forth across the border, and the agriculture or the grass and everything's starting to grow again all around that area.
So Stuart Brenner asks, "What can we do to reduce our debt?"
Well, let me continue with immigration if I can. So immigration, first you got to secure the border. I think President Trump's doing a really good job at that, but we got to continue with that. Not just the southern border, but the northern border too, and they're doing well up there. But 50% of all immigration problems that are people that come here on either a student visa or a travel visa, and they overstay their visa. They just end up staying here. And the State Department that handles the visas and the Department of Homeland Security, they need to get hot on as people do not leave the country at their respective time. They need to get hot on locating these people and get them out of the country. Now, most of them have to just go back for a few weeks and come back, which is fine, but they have to do it legally. So everyone thinks, oh, southern border, but like I said, half the problem is overstaying visas. So that's a problem. And then we have to, and I think President Trump's doing a good job as criminal aliens are being released out of jail. We need to pick them up and send them back to their countries of origin. And hopefully they stay there, don't come back. And then slowly tackle the problem of those that have been here for 20, 30 years on a case-by-case basis. I know the president, and I do back up, he does not like chain migration, where if 2 or 3 people in a family are immigrated here, and then they can bring in all these family members. I think they should be restricted to just the immediate family. Okay. And also, I don't like this lottery system where all these other countries just pull their name out of a hat and they get to immigrate to the United States. I'm for merit-based immigration because some industries like home health care, some of these homes and these assisted living, the Filipinos are just amazing nurses and medical people. And getting green cards for them to work would be perfect. So that's my immigration.
Well, I actually have a comment here. I don't mean to interject my personal life.
Well, you are.
I am. And I talked to you before this. We asked your permission.
That's all right. You can interact.
My wife is a legal immigrant, and she is a Filipino nurse from the Philippines.
I didn't know that.
She came here. Yeah, she came here and she was 25. Met her when she was 35. And we got married about a year later, and then another year later had our son.
Really?
Yeah, but I just want to interject. I wrote my little comment here. I want to bring attention to the fact that my wife is a legal immigrant who supports legal immigration, is against illegals immigration. It hurts our family that want to visit us legally.
Right.
Because they don't want to live here. Their extended family, they have businesses. They're doing well. They just want to come visit on vacation and spend their money and go home. But it's so messed up because of the line cutters.
Right.
Yeah, they can't go. They couldn't go to our wedding, birth of our child, and they're not they're not going to be a drain on our system. They just want to visit. So anyway, I agree with you with that it's affecting our family. And
well, a good friend of mine who's helping me in Rancho Santa Margarita, knocking on doors and passing out literature, he has a girlfriend over in the Philippines, and he can't bring her here. Yeah. He has to go to the Philippines to hang out with her, and then he comes back here for a few months. Yeah, and it's taken him forever to get her, just to get her a visa.
Yeah, it's because the system is swamped, I imagine. So, well, we covered over.
Any other questions?
Oh, we have like 60 questions.
Well, let's go.
Okay, so we got so many. Hopefully, I'm not skipping any.
Well, it looks like you are.
I'm trying to.
No skip.
Okay, but you got to keep talking while I'm scrolling because I want to.
Well, he scrolls. The election is in 25 days, 26 days. Everybody should have their ballot by now. It is mailed out on Monday, and it should be with you this week. Everybody gets a mail-in ballot this year, and you can fill it out. Make sure you fill in the whole square. And once it's done, you seal it, you sign it, and you can either take it to a voting center, which they open up on the 22nd of the month, or you can mail it in. I recommend you hand carry it to a voting center, and there's several in your cities. It'll be in your literature when you get your ballot, where to take it. There's no more precinct voting. You're not going down to the local church or social hall to vote that you usually do because there's no one going to be there. It's a whole new system this time around.
Okay. So Stuart Brenner also hits us with a financial question. What can we do to reduce our debt? And that's part
right.
of
Here's the problem, why the debt under this administration continues to be $900 million to $1 trillion or billion to $1 trillion is because our president wanted to build up the military. He wanted to get all new equipment for our troops, which is great, give them a pay raise. Well, the Democrats, they're really big into social programs. So they said, well, we'll give you $700 billion for this, but we want $700 billion for this. And when you add that up with Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and some of these other programs, it's about $1 trillion more that comes in. So I would want to, first of all, slowly reduce the costs of government. The government is supposed to be a very small entity. The federal government is basically to take care of us, take care of our borders, and have a strong military. We've really gone off the reservations with the Department of Education, housing, and all these other energy. I personally feel those should not be cabinet positions. So you have this huge bureaucracy working in Washington the money comes in, and a lot of it just gets absorbed by the bureaucracy in Washington. Maybe half, if not more, say,
$20 billion goes to energy. Well, 10 billion just goes for all the people and the buildings, and then maybe the other 10 goes out to where it's supposed to go. So I would want to slowly reduce the bureaucracy in Washington, maybe 1% a year till we're down 5%. I want to look at all the programs that are underfunded and why they're underfunded, and those that are overfunded to reduce them. I would look at the money we give to other countries, and as we just went through this big impeachment and all over money going to Ukraine. Why is the United States sending all the money to Ukraine when it's over there in Europe? I think the Europeans would be more concerned about the Russians than the United States. So I do agree with the president. Why is the United States? And I believe that was in the phone call, like, hey, why isn't Germany, France, England, some of these other large countries, developed countries over there helping out? So that's one area. And here's a Social Security. It's like $7 trillion money is in the Social Security fund, but the federal government took all the money for other things. And so they actually owe Social Security with interest money. So we got the government paying the government back with interest while they continue to print money. And quantitative easing and all this other stuff is not good for the economy. So to answer your question in a quick nutshell, I would work hard, and I would not vote as a congressman for anything that bloats the budget and overspends.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is we got a big one from Casey Lind. I haven't even read it yet, so I'll try to read it. Okay. And I'm not sure. It said for-profit rehab facilities. I think this might be a county issue. They're talking about not regular congressional issue, but I'll go ahead and read the comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
For-profit rehab facilities are taking over our neighborhoods. They hide behind federal law and buy homes next to families. Operating a business in our neighborhoods, we have 11 now in our small area of Orange Park acres. Where do you stand on regulating these homes and limiting their footprint in our neighborhoods?
Yeah, I know Senator Bates here in California, which is our senator down here in South Orange County, is working on this up in Sacramento, and Assemblyman Bill Breaux. They're working on it to get some type of way where they can oversee these homes and make sure they're being used correctly. So what I understand you're talking about is, if you're, say, have a drug problem in North Carolina, they put all these great ads out saying, come to California, we'll get you off of drugs, we'll rehab you. Well, they call them sober living homes. And there's 6 or 7, sometimes 8 or 9 people in there, which I understand what you're saying. It's being protected by the law that for Disability Act. The Disability Act is saying these people are disabled, so it's hard to shut these things down, but they need to be regulated. There needs to be someone in there, and needs to be a number of only like 4 or 5 in there. But what's happening, these people are renting their homes, and they're getting all this money through these insurance, and instead of getting a normal rent here, which is like $3,000 a month for a 3-bedroom, they're probably getting $20,000-$30,000 a month. So that's why they're sprouting up all over. And under Obamacare and some of these other medical programs, they pay for like 6 months of this, and then after 6 months they boot them out, and that's where you find a lot of the homeless problems, because some of these families don't want these drug addicts back, and you find them on the street. So it is a problem. So at the federal level, there's probably some way we can help regulate it, but we'd work with the state governments.
Okay, we've got more questions. Stuart Brenner asked, let me pull up the question. Banning offshore drilling is something Democrats attacked Mimi Walters on. How would you address this?
Well, this is 2020. We know how to drill offshore safely. And when I was based in the 4th Marine Aircraft Wing in New Orleans, they had a lot of offshore off of Louisiana and the Texas coast. It's done very well. So I believe that it can be done safely, but we need to stay oil independent. Energy independent. They just opened up Anwar up in Alaska. That's going to bring a bunch of oil to keep us going. I know the Democrats are very big on getting away from fossil fuels, but that's a long time away. In the meantime, we have to have the energy. But if you look out at the blue skies and the clean water, it's getting better and better. When I first got here, when I first arrived here, it was pretty sad, the pollution in the air and all, but it's getting better and better. I'm a conservationist. I do have solar panels on my roof here, so I do not have an electric bill at all during the year.
Awesome.
And I have double pane windows, and I have a low flow pool pump on my pool to conserve energy. and I have artificial grass in my front yard so we could serve water. So I'm a conservationist, and I'd like to see more of that. I did like the federal programs where they give you 30% on solar panels. It's a tax credit, which is pretty significant. So solar panels about $20,000. You automatically get $6,000 or $7,000 back from the federal government. So, and then you can pay on a program, and within probably I'd say about 15 years they're paid for, and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay. All right, I'll read off some more comments. Well done, Greg. Kristen says, woohoo. Okay. We're going to have a tough one from Eric Halverson.
Oh, I know Eric.
He actually donated to you. He doesn't make a lot of money, but he donated. No, he did donate to you.
Thank you, Eric.
So he says, given the recent acquittal of President Trump, what would be your red line in impeachment? I'm just concerned when I see Republicans throwing Romney and Bolton under the bus.
No, you got to be careful with that. As a senator, you have a pretty solemn duty at an impeachment trial to make a vote of guilty or not guilty. Romney obviously thinks the president should be found guilty and removed from office. I personally don't feel that. A phone call with a foreign leader discussing things that they discussed, and we had the whole transcripts. To me, that's not impeachable. So what I find is impeachable is a high crime, treason, and things like that.
Yeah, I was I don't want to inject, but I was a military police officer, and I'm not a prosecutor, but I was a cop, right? So I'm just saying I don't see the crime there. My 2 cents. But did you take a break?
No, I'm fine. They need to come together there in Washington. But if they don't, I'm pretty certain they won't. So we need to win 18 seats in November, and then we'll have the majority, and we get a lot of these no Trumpers gone already, and we can have a really, really good government on all 8 cylinders come 2021. With me in Congress and 18 others, we get the majority back. We just picked up another congressman who left the Democratic Party, and we could really make it happen. So we can't count on working with the Democrats.
Okay.
We have to count on winning these seats, bringing in Kevin McCarthy as our speaker, who's been there a while, so he understands Washington. So this is a +3 Republican district, meaning there's 3% more people registered Republican than Democrats, so we should win. Mimi Walters won this seat in 2016 by 17 points. She won it in 2014 by 14 points. It should never have lost this seat in 2018. She lost it by 5 points. Okay. So my job is to win this seat back, work with the independence and the no party preference. And what I found in this district, being a military veteran, a combat decorated Marine, there's about, like I said earlier, 80,000 veterans in this district. So when they shut down El Toro, they shut down Tustin Air Base, a lot of people stayed and started their families here. Now they're starting to have grandkids. So I would reach out. There's only about 40% Republicans with these veterans and about another 30% that are no party preference. So I'll reach out to those veterans and the Democrats to get me elected over Katie Porter. Okay. So, and obviously we're trying to get as many Democrats out as possible.
Speaking of that person, question from Peter Warnock, since you want, what do you think about Katie Porter spending so much time in Iowa and only getting Elizabeth Warren 18% of the vote and taking one county?
Well, I'm concerned about that. I'm sure she's a nice woman. I'm not going to go personal against her if I win the primary, but our policies are different. You know, she voted for the impeachment inquiry. She voted for impeaching our president. She'd like to see him gone, but he's not. She has not been back here very much. She's been in Iowa, and now what I understand, she's in New Hampshire helping Elizabeth Warren, who I understand was one of her professors at Harvard. So as you know, as Warren goes, so does Katie Porter, is very liberal and very to the point where she's very progressive. That does not fit the 45th district. This was the last bastion of Republican conservatism is Orange County. We lost it all. So our job is to get it back. So I think it'll be a tough race. She's very well educated. She's a tough competitor. She's got but when I run against her, she'll have over a year of Congress under her belt. But I have a lot of experience in the military. I got more Washington experience than she does. I got 4 years Washington. I got more elected official time than she does. I'm in my 6th year. She's in her 1st year. She was never elected to anything before she was elected to Congress.
Okay. Oh, so can I break real quick to share your website? They're come across my other screen on my phone about to donate again. So,
hey, Cole, have we got any donations?
so if you want to donate, John just messaged me about donations. So,
See if any donations.
So-
We need probably. I'm a real stickler financially, man. And with my staff, they want to put something out. We get the best buck for the buck. We go directly to the printer. We go directly to the TV. We do not use a middleman. We don't waste money going to these intermediaries that pick up 10, 15%. I don't have a big consultant that I pay $6,000, $7,000 a month like some of the other campaigns. I understand how to run a campaign. We have a great staff of millennials. And I do have a fundraiser guy who's really good, so I'm really tough with the money. So I always can use money. We've already sent out a couple mailers. We got TV going. We got a little radio, and hopefully send out one more mailer, maybe two more mailers too. And we're strategically, if you haven't received one, if you haven't received one, it's because we're very targeted on those who are going to vote. Either maybe we've been to your house and you said you're going to vote for us, so we marked you off the list. But if you haven't received one, go to my webpage, learn about me. Mailers for the district's about $20,000 to hit most of the voters. So we're trying to send out one more. So we're trying to raise about $20,000 more here. But we do have money in the bank. We're sitting good. We want to keep some for the general election.
okay. All right, we got more questions, some state, but can we knock off the health issues? I'm sorry, I just wanted to check the block because did we cover healthcare yet?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Do we have any questions on healthcare?
I just wanted to go down the issues, the policy
Okay.
and issues with
All
our
right.
questions. Because last time we talked a lot about the military, and a lot of our supporters, like we know Greg was a colonel, we know he's a jet fighter pilot, we know he worked for the president. But we want to see the issues, and I'll do a screen share, so we can actually pull up the issues on your website. And the issues listed on your website are veterans issues, economy, border security, healthcare, and national security.
Right.
I know we talked about economy and taxes already, and national debt. We covered that. And,
Hey, Kelsey. Hi.
And
My neighbor's daughter.
so if we wanted to talk a little bit about healthcare, and I'll just read off some of the stuff that I wrote down to ask you. Just wanted to have a few minutes of dialogue and about the medical care and the way forward. And I pulled up your website so the viewers can see what you have written on your site. Look at my screen right here. It's just stuff right there.
We got 9 people watching.
No, that's on yours. But total we have right now, it was about 100 or so live right now.
Okay.
This is the very second we have.
Only got 9. I'm going to shut this
I got
down.
50 right here.
All right. Okay.
I got another
we're
23
back.
on my phone because we're streaming this.
Healthcare, you got to attack one by one. Healthcare. Work with the VA. That's a federally funded program. Ensure that gets done. They're really working hard. The Veterans Administration and Trump has done a great job. President Trump. Medicare is doing really well, and like I said, I just got on it last year. My wife and I, once we turned 65, and the healthcare if you work for a company and they provide healthcare, that's a great way to program to handle healthcare. But there's that other area where a lot of people work part-time and they're not on any of the healthcare programs. They actually got to buy healthcare. There's this great program called MediShare. It's a religious type program. There's like 400,000 people on it, and they say you could save up to $500 a month on that program.
I usually never interrupt you unless you get a donation.
But you can.
Eric Halverson just donated $20.20.
Eric, you're the man.
And I know he works hard for his money, so really appreciate that, Eric.
Thank you. $20.20 will get 4 yard signs because they cost about $4 a piece. And we just ordered 100 more because people keep asking for signs, and we thought we had enough, but we didn't, so we're going to order some more. So thank you, Eric.
So I apologize for interrupting you. I'll let you get back to your healthcare.
Let's get back to healthcare. So we got to find a way to, for those that are not on a program with their company or they're not on a government program, to get that healthcare cost down. And I'm going to work, and they always say Republicans don't care about pre-existing conditions. Where what happens is some of these healthcare programs, once they find out you have they won't take you, or once you have it, they'll drop you from the program. And I'll do everything in my power as a congressman to ensure that that doesn't happen. And also, and it sounds like they're working on it now, reduce the cost of prescriptions. And what I see different from, say, Canada, they say, why are the drugs so much cheaper in Canada or Mexico? Well, in the United States, you have this huge middleman that takes an enormous amount of cut from when the companies sell it. They don't sell it directly to the pharmacies. They sell it through, say, Express Scripts or one of these intermediaries, and they take a big chunk of the money. And the pharmacies, they don't make much money at all. They're really tight. So my neighbor across the street, he owns a pharmacy. It's just his own little one. It's not like Walgreens, and it's tough. And there we go, well, you make all this money on prescription drugs. It's not true. So I will do what we can to reduce the cost of the middleman to get prescription drugs down.
Okay, so there's another one about that has been coming up in the state assembly races, and a lot of people have said about that is, what is your opinion on taxing citizens to pay for illegal immigrant and basically anyone in the world that wants free healthcare?
Yeah, this is an issue, and it's tough because who was it? I think it was my son was at the emergency room for something. He broke a finger or something, and it was just full of Hispanics that appeared to be illegal, because that's one way you have to give them medical care, and which is fine. I understand, and I'm not have anything against that. But if you come here illegally and start using the system through education or through medicine, you put an enormous burden on tax-paying Americans. So it goes all the way back to, control the borders and figure that out.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but you just got another donation.
Thank you.
So
2020.
Yeah. So, but I understand you're talking about how the system could collapse if people aren't paying for into it, because nothing is free.
And they say, well, they pay their taxes too. They work hard, but they have a fake Social Security number. They have a fake Medicare card. They have a fake food stamp card. And because once you get here, they know where to go to get all these fake cards and stuff to get them on all these programs.
My wife works in healthcare and is
so
legal.
She knows.
And some of the people that are the most against illegal immigration are legal immigrants that work so hard to get here.
Right.
My wife, she worked so hard in learning what she did to get here, having to study, literally memorizing her nursing books to be selected. Now she's one of the top nurses over at Kaiser and Irvine. So if you get a surgery, the doctors, they do the big surgeries, they request her.
Is that right?
Yeah, because she's so hardworking. And yeah.
Well, on your sample ballot, if you go to my ballot statement, I have my phone number. It's my personal cell phone number, and I get about 8 calls a day since ballots went out and the sample ballots went out. And number one issue has been health care, what I'm going to do for that. Awesome. And number 2 is, do you like Trump or you don't like Trump? So I like Trump and what he's doing, so I have no problem answering that question. But it's really nice to talk to all these people, and I'm glad they call.
I think after the State of the Union address, I think you gained a lot of support from that. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
What was it? Okay.
I just know because after you said, do you like him or you don't like him? But I said, after the State of the Union address, I think he got a lot of support out of that one.
But what I'm trying to get at is this illegal immigration here in California is putting a huge strain on our schools, a huge strain on our medical facilities, a huge strain on our policing. And we need to get that under control. And when California went to a sanctuary state, where if there's an illegal alien that is released from prison and you can't notify ICE to pick them up and take them back to their country, that's a big problem, because they can go out and continue to do bad things. Mission Viejo, we voted 5-0 not to be a sanctuary city. It was unanimous. And I would challenge my other candidates that are on city council and ask them if they in fact voted for that. And you'd be interested to hear what they said.
Awesome. So one of my questions, the next one, I think we covered most of it, is immigration and border security, and it's on your website.
Yeah, we talked that, right.
I just want to direct the audience attention to your website so we can talk the issues. And just
those are just generalities. If you want more specifics, give me a call, or we can sit down for coffee or whatever it takes. But it's been fun. I usually do 4 events every day, starting with a breakfast somewhere, and I talk to a lot of my constituents here in the city, but I've been spending a lot of time in Irvine, Laguna Hills, and Tustin, and I'm going to work next week in Lake Forest and Rancho Santa Margarita.
Okay. Also, I think we had a question on Prop 13 pop up. I just want to check off all of our issues. The next one I want to cover with you is national security.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure, sure.
One lady who called me today, she goes, I tried to get a hold of the other 5 candidates, and I had to go through their campaign office, and I got their consultant, and the consultant says, I'll answer you. And she goes, no, I just want to talk to the candidate, and they could never get to the candidate. Yeah. They come right to me. And not only I'll do that as a candidate, I'll do it as your congressman. Yep. And when you walk into my office, and there's somebody out front, and I'm in the back, they better let you in my office, because that's the way I am. And you want to come talk to me, I will make the time for you, because I work for you. And you pay my wages, and you pay my office bills in Washington and here. So this is your house. I represent you, and I'll be around. I'll be to the chambers of commerces. I'll be at the Rotary clubs. I'll be at the churches, the synagogues, the mosque, or whatever, because I represent all the people in the district, not those that just voted for me, but all the people. All right, what's the next question? Any more from the...
We got one for Prop 13, but we wanted to cover national security. I wanted to go down this list of focusing on the issues.
Okay.
So I just had something written down here. So national security. Well, let me put the question. Hold on.
We got some visitors here.
Yeah, we do. And we have a guest host that's blowing up my phone. We're going a little longer, but we'll do a marathon, I guess, tonight. So let me just
got some of my staff here. I got Cole, who's my campaign manager. Got my wife. Okay. Michelle.
So national security.
We got Ben and Craig. And who else? Abe. Abe, this guy's amazing. He's hit 4,000 homes alone in Irvine. Yep. And I didn't know Abe 4 months ago. And he goes, I want to help. What can I do? And he helped get Don Wagner elected. And he goes, I know Irvine. I know people that are going to vote for you. So thanks, Abe, for being here.
I always remind Don Wagner out of the awards for his campaign last year.
Yeah.
Abe was one of them. He got an award for the Volunteer of the Month. Yeah.
Well, you got Abe walking for you. You just sit back and reap the benefits.
Yeah. Okay, so I think national security is going to be an easy one for you. So do you want to talk for a couple minutes about that?
It's not that easy. I would like to be on an Armed Services Committee or the Veterans Affairs. I mean, it's near and dear to me. There's a $720 billion budget for national security. I think that's bloated. I've worked at the Pentagon. I know where the fat is. When the whistle blows at 5, everyone goes home at the Pentagon. That tells me that they don't have enough work to do. So I would like to see that bureaucracy reduced. These price of airplanes are just way out of hand. Let me put it in perspective. The budget for Mission Viejo is about $65 million a year. And that's 120 workers, all the roads, all the slopes, pick up the garbage, take care of all the parks, baseball, football. So take 2 of those budgets, $120 million for a city of 100,000 people, and you can buy 1 airplane, the F-35. Oh. That is unsatisfactory. There should not be that expensive for an F-35. In fact, the F-35, unfortunately, it's still here. It's a great airplane, but I believe personally it'll be the last manned fighter aircraft ever built, because we're going to be going to drones and obviously unmanned airplanes, as we saw what happened over in Iraq a couple weeks ago when they took out the terrorists.
Okay, so before I possibly hand it over to my co-host, that's going to cover Prop 13 and some other questions. And I want to ask a last question about election integrity. Noah, do you need a break?
Yeah.
Before? Okay.
I think I need a break.
Oh, no. We usually go about 2-3 hours and we're good.
No.
But
anybody still watching?
Yeah, like about 100 people. About 100.
All right. Every time I mention neighborhood car care, we should get some type of donation.
Okay. And then Frances Hicks, I see your question.
Frances is amazing. She's in real estate, and she's a very dear friend of mine. And if you want a great realtor, Frances Hicks is the woman you need.
Yeah, so the co-host was texting me because he wants to cover Prop 13. But let me cover election integrity. So elections are controlled by the local county, but of course it affects higher office, as we know. What's your take on ballot harvesting?
Let's go back a minute. 15 counties out of the 58 counties in California have gone to this new type of voting, vote by mail, and master vote centers. But that's about 80% of the voters, because all the big counties are doing it. So I got to let my listeners know one more time, you're going to be a ballot in the mail. You can either mail it in. I don't really recommend that because you break the chain. I would take it to a voting center, drop it off there to make sure. Ballot harvesting will not be an issue in the primary. I've talked to all the other Republican candidates. We're not going to be harvesting ballots against each other. The Democrats may do it for Katie Porter, but she's the only Democrat running. Where it's going to come into play is in the general election. So we're going to pretty much set up the whole program where we're going to have team captains, neighborhood captains, where they're going to know all the Republican voters and Democrat no party in their area. And they're going to go 2-3 weeks ahead of time. And, hey, you want me to pick up your ballot? And ballot harvesting, what it is they give you your ballot, you turn it in. And what happened on the November 2018, 250,000 ballots were dropped off at the Orange County Office of the Register on election night. That's why every candidate, Republican candidate, was leading by thousands of votes on election night, and a week later they all lost by the time they counted all those harvested ballots. So we're going to harvest them ourselves since it's the law. Now, in North Carolina, we saw it's against the law, and they nullified the election, and they had to have another election. So if that's the law, you got to fight fire with fire. Unfortunately, or fortunately, probably Republicans don't like to give up their votes. I guess Democrats do.
Yeah, I actually I harvested one ballot for Don Wagner.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Yeah, they don't give up their ballots. But there's some in the Democratic Party that will. But I also observed in COL, my campaign manager, I said, give me a precinct around UCI. And there's one home with 10. We put it on our smartphone so we know who's at the house before we even knock. And there's 10 voters in this one house. And when I knocked on the door, I met the lady. First of all, she was an American citizen, and none of the 10 actually lived there. She never even heard of them. So what I do is turn in the names to the Orange County Office of Register. Say these people don't live here. I was just at that house.
Oh, wow.
I know it's one by one, but it's a way to make sure the system's not being is being done correctly.
Okay, so I want a couple other, 3 last questions. I'm going to turn it over to Ben Chapman. He's going to take over as you're answering these last 3 questions.
Okay.
What are some of the policies you've helped to shape and create over the years in your career? I heard your policies on council for Mission Viejo led to a budget surplus in your city.
Right. Here's the best thing that happened in Mission Viejo. The last 2 years, I was mayor pro tem, and I was mayor. I was in leadership role. And we had an $8 million surplus. Of those $8 million, $3 million or 2 point some million was because we spent less than we projected to spend. And who does that? It's usually just the opposite. So that gave us, it inflated our reserve into around $35 million. And at the point, there's a time when there's a developer looking to buy the Costa del Sol golf course and develop it, and we didn't want to do that. And when they fell out of escrow, we jumped on it. The city bought the golf course for $13 million. We just wrote a check because we had the money, which still leaves about $22 million in reserve. Okay. So the city runs that golf course. Here's the best thing. We're making like $40,000 a month profit. Oh, wow. So we're able to turn money from the golf course back into the golf course. We're redoing the parking lot, all the lighting. It wasn't ADA approved, so we're fixing all the ADA approval. And some of the sprinkler systems weren't working, so we're fixing that. It's going to be a great. What I eventually like to do is redo the whole clubhouse and make it really beautiful, so they can have weddings and other events there. So
I imagine some
right. So I'm a strict fiscal conservative, and I'll be the same in Washington. The city is one of the safest cities. Crime was reduced by 27% over the last year. We have a great Orange County sheriff that sends us some of his best deputies, and a great lieutenant. We call him Lieutenant Q. He's an immigrant, actually from I believe he's a boat child from Vietnam, and he's just amazing. He's real big with social media. He keeps the people informed what's going on. But there's a lot of petty crime, and with these new bills that the California legislature have passed, such as where it's $950, all you do get is a ticket. So people have no problem, opening car doors and taking things out. So if you park your car outside and you don't have a garage, make sure it's locked and there's nothing of value in it. Even in your trunk, they'll open your trunk. So that's starting to be an issue. And in some of our stores, they'll walk in and just take things. And they don't even cover it with a mask or anything anymore.
Oh, wow.
Because all they get is a ticket. You get a citation to go, to pay your money back. It's terrible.
Okay, one question. Then as you're answering this, I'm going to swap out. So going into further detail on policy, if a resident feels so strongly about an issue, they want a policy or a law changed or created, how would they go about that? Communicating with your office? How can they be a part of that? And that's a lead on to my next question about Brian Talley, who I told you about.
Right.
So how would they do that?
No, as a legislator, you can obviously vote on other policy laws, or you can bring up some yourself. And if there's some within the area that's necessary to get across, and you got to, I'll be a freshman congressman. I'm not going to be the majority leader or anything like that, or I'm not going to be a chairman of some committee. So I'll be a freshman. So I'll come in with my ideas. I want to listen to theirs and try to find the best ideas they have and try to match it with my ideas, because I like to work on some of these caucuses, like the Freedom Caucus, and some of these caucuses that get things done. So I'm really going to work hard as a legislator. Obviously, your first couple of years, some can, but it's very difficult to bring up your own legislation. But you want to work with other people. And like I said earlier in this program, I know several of the congressmen. I had lunch with Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, and Jack Bergman, who I know from Michigan, and some of the other congressmen when I was back there. I've been there twice in the last year. Talking to the congressman. There's a club outside the Capitol after work. You go sit down, have lunch or dinner with them, and kind of learn the ropes. So I know Washington. I know Congress. I know the executive branch. Like I said, I worked 3 years at the White House. I was the chief of staff of the White House military office when I was a colonel. So I understand the executive branch, and I understand the legislative branch.
All right. Hi, everyone. Ben Chapman
Hey,
here.
Ben. Welcome. How did you get there?
Yeah, just swapped out right there.
That was quick.
Yeah, great to be here and co-host this with the next congressman of the 45th
Thank you.
Congressional District here. Thank you for having me. Greg has been a great inspiration to me, and he is one of the first supporters who got me to run for city council in Costa Mesa. So.
Yes, you're running for. Where did we meet? When I ran in 2014 for U.S. Congress. It was myself, Mimi Walters, John Borlaug was in the race for a while, a couple others.
It was an open seat.
A couple Democrats. It was open seat, and ended up Mimi Walters. I came in third in the primary, so when I lost that, I ran for city council. So, where did we meet?
We met on Facebook.
Is that right?
I saw you posting somewhere, and I said, all right, I have this website, and so I'm going to do social media for this guy 6 years ago.
Yeah, what's your website?
Here we are. It's called Republican Thinker.
Republican Thinker, and you got about,
125,000 followers.
125,000 followers.
Yep,
So.
and we're running ads targeting the district here in the 45th, and so, man, we're hitting the ground running.
Do I have the Republican Thinker backing me?
You do.
All
you
right,
have the
that's
endorsement.
Thank
That's right, you do. So are you ready for some hardball questions?
Yes.
Are we ready? Okay. I want to find out where you stand on Proposition 13.
All right. Well, Prop 13 is not the old Prop 13. Are you talking about the Prop 13 that's going to be on the ballot this
Correct.
time?
Yes.
Okay. This is, I think it's like a $1.2 billion proposition for education.
Correct.
If you look at the numbers, I think 600,000 goes to schools, another 600 million goes to schools, 400 million goes to infrastructure, and at the very, very end, there's like 2 million for charter schools or something. I believe, and I'm personally going to vote against it, and I'm going to recommend people to vote against it. It's just too much.
Yep,
Because once you add the interest, and this thing goes on and on and on, the money's gone, the money's spent, and we're back to where we were. I believe there's enough money coming into the California coffers. We don't need another bond. It's easy to say, oh, the school, the kids, and everything. There's money out there, and so I if it's more targeted and it'll be less, I think the local school districts should do their own bonds if they need it. And I know Capistrano last election came up with this huge bond. It failed miserably, so now they learn and they're just doing a little at a time. They're doing neighborhood by neighborhood bonds. And I know there's a bond here in South Orange County at Saddleback, and it's $600 million or something, and that's just way out of whack.
Yep, I agree. So one of the we're doing a Facebook watch party on your Facebook page, and one of the questions coming in is from Risa Moore, and she asked, "We need mental health facilities in hospital settings. Is this on your radar?"
Well, actually, in Bishop Vale, we actually have a mental hospital per se, where people with mental issues can go. It's set aside. People pretty much don't know where it is, which is fine. But once they released all these mental patients, when They did some investigative reporting. I believe it was Geraldo, 20-some years ago. They found a mental hospital where they actually had people chained to beds and sleeping in their own feces and urine. And it was bad. That there was a huge overreaction. We need to let everybody out of these facilities, but some need to be in a facility, obviously not chained down, but with supervised professionals to help them out. So I think that's where we're finding a lot of the homeless now on the streets. There's nowhere to put them. The families can't handle them anymore, and they end up on the streets. So mental health facilities are a must, and I would do what I can to support that.
All right, perfect. We got a question in from Fountain Valley City Council member Patrick Harper. Have you met Patrick?
I have not. Is any relations to the former assemblyman?
No. Not that I'm aware of, at least. He and I had coffee about a week ago, and I talked to him about my run and everything. Very, very nice guy. So he asked, what are the top 1 or 2 issues you hear from your constituents?
All right, here's the first issue, because once I get to the door and I'm talking to people and, they're looking, will you vote for me? Yes. And I tell them my background as a military officer and a decorated Marine. And I said, what's your number 1 issue that bothers you most about Washington? And you know what the number 1 issue was?
What's that?
Democrats. It was Democrats, Shifty Shift and Nancy Pelosi. And just the way they treat the president was the number 1 issue. So, and I told them, and I've heard this from several of the voters here, is the way we can get around this is to vote in a Republican House. But as an issue per se, it's immigration. They feel that a lot of our tax dollars go for illegal immigrants, and that's an issue. And number 2 is the high cost of living in California, the taxes and the regulation. From what I understand, you want to build a house, your first $200,000 is just to cover all the regulation costs. Look for the little butterflies or the little caterpillars that you got to make sure that you shoo them off the property. But this is a true story. My buddy bought some land down in Vista, which is down by Carlsbad area in Oceanside area, and he was going to build some facilities to put in some where you store stuff, storage places. And there is several weeds growing on the property, and they're endangered weeds. Wow. Trust me, weeds. So he could not build until the weeds went through their pollen stage, and then they had to transplant those and move them somewhere where they can live forever. And it stopped everything. So the regulations are really crazy. You probably heard of the Delta Smelt, where it stops the water flowing from Northern California to Southern California because there's this little fish that is stopping everything. So we got to look at the human being. Obviously, we are the top of the pyramid here. We got to take care of ourselves, but obviously we want to take care of the environment, but not to the point where it just costing us so much money that people just end up leaving. Kelly Ernby, she's running for assembly in the 74th district, which is Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, parts of Irvine. I've endorsed her and walked with her, and she's hearing, I believe it's her own brother who can't even afford to live here, so he moved to Texas, which is sad. But I think the number is close to 39,000 a day are leaving California. That doesn't mean 39,000 a day is reduced, because obviously you have all the newborns and you have some people obviously moving into the state, but a lot of people are leaving for 2 reasons: politics, it's too liberal, and cost of living, regulation, and taxes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. So another important question: we have some people who aren't big fans of Katie Porter commenting on your fan page right now. We're running again the watch party. So what are you going to do to defeat Katie Porter? I mean, you've run for Congress before, and so what are you going to do different this time to take on Katie Porter and her establishment machine?
Well, I have to get to the primary first.
Yeah,
I didn't get by the primary last time, so it was going against my Republican competitor back then, and we were doing pretty good, but we lost by a few thousand votes. But once we get by the primary, everything changes. Now it's totally focused on November, and the staff will build up a new staff, obviously, and expand it. Money will come in significantly. I've talked to the NRCC in Washington. I've talked to the Orange County GOP and the California GOP. This is the #1 targeted seat In California, the 45th, they believe we can win it back. So if Kevin McCarthy has aspirations to be Speaker of the House, he knows to ensure enough money comes in. So we will go to the NRCC, and then we'll obviously go to my donors and the donors of the other 5 candidates. And if you look at the candidates, the amount of money we've raised, the 6 of us, compared to what Katie's raised, is about the same. I think it's like $2.4 million. So we've raised $2.4 million. So we could raise the money, but what I'll do against her is just point out her liberal policies and her progressiveness and her socialism, because she's a Medicare for all type of person. She's a protege of Elizabeth Warren, and I don't see Elizabeth Warren getting out of the New Hampshire primary. I think she'll fold after that. So she's very, and she's never been in politics before. I know she's struggling in her office handling veterans issues, and that's the number one issue I can help. Like I said, I want the cemetery put up in Irvine, and I'd like to see a VA hospital. And we just got to take care of our veterans, because these veterans, and being one, so it's near and dear to my heart, they leave for years to protect our country, and so keep it down over there, please. And it's not good. So I can help. I can help the veterans here in the district.
Perfect. Now, as far as supporters and people who are backing your campaign and working for you and volunteering for you, I'm a millennial. I am Hispanic. I know you're a Trump supporter, and you're for building the wall, and you're for legal immigration. My dad came from Mexico, and he's for legal immigration as well. What kind of supporters do you have? I mean, do you have people of different backgrounds, different ages? I know you mentioned that a little bit, but if you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
We've expanded our base significantly from when I ran before. We have what they call Hispanics for Raths 2020. It's a group of Hispanics here in the district that are helping me, the Hispanic business people, the housewives, the husbands, the families are behind me, and we're actually having a big Hispanic fundraiser on January 22nd at OG's. And
yes, and I attended one of those.
Yes, and they are 100% behind me. They don't like the way they came here legally, and it took them years and years and years to get their citizenship, and they finally get it. They're not comfortable with people just walking across the border and think they become citizens. So they're behind me, and then the Persian community in Irvine and Mission Viejo. There's a woman named Mononiko. She has an art gallery at the Mission Viejo Mall. She's Iranian, and they want to see trade and travel put back between Iran and the United States, so they can have their relatives come back and forth. So hopefully they'll come to the table at some point, and we can get some form of a relationship back with the Iranian community and the Iranian people over there, so they can come and visit their folks, and our people can go over there. So I have a big background. And then the Jewish community. Got 2 rabbis helping me, Rabbi Jeff here at Mission Viejo. They threw me a big fundraiser over Hanukkah, 2 big fundraisers, and the Jewish community's behind me, and they're helping out with their friends up in Beverly Hills and some of the other areas. They've been very supportive, both financially and also supporting me with meet and greets and things like that. So we're working hard. I work with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic 100. It's a nonprofit. We go to their events every year. They have a golf tournament, and I've been very supportive of them. So I've been out within the communities for the last several years. So I know the communities. I understand their needs. And one thing about, I went to Cal State Fullerton in 2012, 2013, picked up another degree. I do have 3 degrees. I picked up a degree in political science and history. You go to Cal State Fullerton, very, very diverse. And I learned so much there with the Asian community and the Hispanic community and the Persian community from the young students. And that's when I really got interested in politics. But there is a segment in Irvine that is very Asian Americans, and we're working very hard in that area to get their votes and to get their support.
Perfect. All right, well, this is going to be my last question, and then I'm going to let, Mark's going to take over again. But again, thank you for letting me join you. You've been a mentor to me. You've been an inspiration. So I really appreciate everything you've done and everything you're going to do to help me. And and I back you 100%. So, um, speaking of Trump, as I mentioned earlier today, you got a chance to meet him a few months ago, and once you do win the primary, what is he going to come down and support you, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, I've talked to Brad Parscales, his campaign manager, who's talked to my campaign manager. We were at the convention in California, Republican convention. It was out in the desert Springs, I believe. And they're going to come out. They're waiting to see who wins the primary, and they gave us a bunch of tips. Right now, we're micro-targeting all our voters that will vote. So we basically know who's going to vote before they vote, those that vote in primaries and general elections. So we're working really hard with the Trump campaign, and they did promise that they will not forget about California. They want to win at least 4 seats in California of the 18. Hopefully we can win the 45th. They're looking at the 48th, 49th, and 46th districts here in Orange County, and I think the 38th and 39th. So we're trying to get Duncan Hunter's seat back in San Diego. He had to leave that seat over some corruption issues. I know Darrell Ice is down there running, and D'Amato's running. So is it D'Amato?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so we should get that seat back, and so hopefully gain maybe 6 seats here in California. So the Trump administration said they'll be out here. They'll help us raise money. If you ever been to a Trump rally, they're very exciting, and we'd love to have the president come out.
That's the rumor I heard. I heard he we cleared that rumor up last time when he promised he's going to come out and support the candidate that won.
Yes, he said he would. So.
Okay, so we got a bunch of questions that popped across the screen.
Okay.
And I have, of course, our wrap-up.
How are we doing on time?
Well, I scheduled it for an hour is really what I had material for.
Okay, what time is it?
We're 30 minutes past.
Okay.
About 90 minutes in. So we can go as long as you like.
Is Kelly coming by, do you know?
No, she texted me. I think she got stuck somewhere.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I know she was commenting earlier.
Okay.
Kelly Ernby.
Yeah, Kelly Ernby, like I said, she's assistant district attorney, and she has three degrees, a law degree, I think, from Santa Barbara, and then she has a degree at USC, and she's young, 44, working hard. She's with a big law firm now. She's working for Todd Spitzer, who's the district attorney, and she's working hard to get that seat back, the assembly seat back in the 74th district. So if you live in those cities, which is Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, parts of Irvine, that's hers. We just did a show in Laguna Woods is hers too. We just did a show the other day on Laguna Woods TV.
That's right. I saw that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw them. It was on social media as well.
Yeah, she did a great job. So I was on a couple weeks ago, so I let her have all the time.
Okay. So we have a bunch of questions came across. I'll wrap it up. Go. So we've got some more difficult questions. We've got Barbara Kogerman. How will you work with other Republican colleagues in Congress to advance the classical Republican agenda, less intrusive government, lower taxes, and a good national defense?
Well, that's when I first ran back in 2014. I believe the government was getting too big, is bloated. Every time you pass a bill, you got to form a bureaucracy to set it up and start distributing the funds. And by the time it gets to the people, maybe 30-40% of the money gets to the people. So I will do everything, Barbara, and I hope everything's going great in Oklahoma. She's one of these people that her and her husband, he's a colonel in the Marine, retired colonel, lieutenant colonel, and they live in Oklahoma now. But they got fed up with, I believe, the politics here and the high taxes, and they have a beautiful, beautiful house. And we promised to come visit you someday and use one of those 6 bedrooms you have in Oklahoma that you paid for probably half the price of a house here.
Yeah, she says on the screen next to me that she's a political refugee from the 45th.
Yeah, she was the mayor, I believe, twice in Laguna Hills, and she was the one that put term limits into place over in Laguna Hills. And she actually termed out, and she was the president of the Mission Viejo Rotary Club for a while, and I'm the president now of the Mission Viejo Rotary Club. We meet every Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock at the Mission Viejo Country Club. So, Barbara, we miss you. Say hi to Colonel Bill, and thank you for all your support, and I apologize for all the letters asking for money, but once in a while you come through with another nice check, so I thank you.
Awesome. We have some more other feel-good comments. I just want to read them off to you, make you feel a little better. This time, more than money, Greg Raths has a huge ground support that will come when requested. So
Yeah, we do have a good ground game now going. We've hit, I believe it's 14,000 homes, which is about 20,000 voters. We do have a number we need to hit to win. We know what that number is. I'm not going to mention it, but we believe we hit that number so far. A number of voters say they'll vote for us, but there's one candidate has lots of money. He's throwing out mailers every day, which I think it's a waste of money. There is a woman who ran in for assembly down here in the 73rd, and I think she put out 14 mailers, and she came in dead last.
Wow.
I think the way you got to win is go face to face.
Oh, yeah.
And meet people face to face and talk to them.
Yeah, it's proven the best way to win an election is have the candidate at the front door of the voter.
Yeah, they say 95% of the time. If they meet the candidates, 95% will vote for you. If they meet one of your surrogates, and I always tell my people, you go to the door, you say, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm a volunteer for Greg Raths. Not I'm working for Greg Raths because it looks like I'm paying them. I'm a volunteer for Greg Raths, and that means a lot. And then 70% will then vote for you." Abe's a big volunteer.
He's nodding in agreement to you.
Yes.
If I had a camera, I'd put on Abe right now.
Abe is like the best. And if you want to win an election, you bring Abe on and you keep him happy with coffee and donuts and everything else.
Well, I know this is about your election, but when I ran, and we walked 500 miles each.
I heard about this. That's why I got him.
So anyway, Barbara asked a question.
Thank you, Barbara.
Is any other candidate working as hard as you in this race?
You know, Barbara, I've done this before, so I know how to work, and it's either you're looking for votes or you're looking for some type of financial support to help you. And so I understand not to waste a lot of time on things that does not produce results. I don't waste money on consultants. Obviously, if I win the general, then obviously the NRCC will probably insist that we bring someone in. But I'm very frugal with my money. We sent out 100,000 mailers. We sent out 30,000 mailers. We've been in a magazine that goes out twice. 60,000 people, all seniors. We have TV ads running now. 30-second ads are running on the cable stations in the morning. And we've hit 16,000 doors. So
awesome.
I can't see how anyone can work any harder. I started early this morning I don't even know where I started. I think I started at a breakfast, Villa Park Rotary Club or somewhere.
Yep. So John Park says Korean American here. I guess maybe you were talking about that earlier.
John Park's a great American. Thank you, John, for all your support.
Some other positive stuff I'll read to you. Then I've got some other questions too that someone texted me that we missed. So James Webb says, Greg Raths was a great mayor, a lot better than Mayor Pete. Honestly, he was one of our best mayors and saved the golf course from being picked but by developers that would jam high-density housing in there without regard to the population already here.
Yeah, I love being mayor. It was the best job in the world. You know, I was a commanding officer of a fighter squadron, commanding officer of an air group. But my last position in the military, I was commanding officer of an air wing, which is rare for a colonel. 10,000 Marines and sailors and billions of dollars worth of equipment. Several of my units were over in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I know how to manage people. I know how to manage money. I have the military background. And when I worked at the White House, I had a $140 million budget. We handled Air Force One. So I was a chief financial officer for that office too. So I know how to handle money. I know how to handle people, and I'll put together a great staff, and they're going to be there for you, not for me, for you. And my job, and there's two types of congressmen, legislators, and those that likes to just hang around and make themselves look good. I want to be totally unique. I want to not only legislate, but I want to get back to my constituents. Weekends, I'll do everything, and you know. When I've been campaigning 7 days a week, my wife will tell you. And here's another thing. Here's the one reason you need to vote for me compared to the other 5. I'm retired. The other 5 have daytime jobs. I can be out campaigning all the time while Katie Porter is sitting back in Washington in her Batgirl outfit. If you saw that on Halloween, it was a disgrace. She wears a Batgirl outfit on the Senate, on the House floor during the impeachment inquiry. So what I'm telling you, to beat Katie Porter, you have to have someone 24/7. And the Orange County GOP sat me down. They said, if you win the primary, would you quit your day job? I said, I have no day job. I'm retired. I have a nice pension from the military. I had a company. We did pretty well. So I'll devote a lot of my time. And what I did was I matched the first $100,000 of donations with my money coming in. So
I
I have skin in the game.
I like to show
Oh yeah,
rather than tell.
Yeah,
so
there she is.
there you go. So just go ahead and Google that.
That's our congresswoman.
Yeah.
That's our congresswoman. So how hard is that going to be? You know, my what I wore to work was a flight suit, a G suit, a mask, a helmet, and pulled 7-8 Gs. You know, and that's what she wears to work. And trust me, when I go to work, I'm going to have a coat and tie. I'm going to give respect. I'm going to give respect to the office. Like Ronald Reagan, he always wore a coat and tie in the Oval Office, as President Trump does. You know, if she wants to wear that at a Halloween party at night with her friends, that's fine. But you don't go to work dressed like that.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. She may think it's fine, but I don't think that's going to help her get reelected.
I'm going to leave it on screen share for a while so people can just watch as we answer the last questions. Barbara Kogerman says, love you, Greg.
Love you too, Barbara.
Okay, the next question. Okay, Dawn says, okay, there's the question. I hope you're for the people because no one prior has been there for the people of OC.
Well, as I said earlier, I'm the people's choice for this race. I'm not the special interest choice. I'm not the party's choice, you know, the party bosses. You know, I think they have their eye on someone else, and I'm not the choice of the elites in Newport Beach, the big bucks.
Yeah.
But once I win, I think they'll come and help me out.
Well, I don't want to make it about me, but I'll again, when I heard the GIR announcement, I hate to say it, it's all over. Because some of the candidates,
not all over.
I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely a bump.
No, we're working hard. Social media, we're working hard on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and we're trying to get the word out to everybody through emails and phone calls. We have ladies calling. Actually, a lady here tonight, Michelle. She's been on the phone talking to people, and there's not much more we can do. Yeah, I'm not going to do any robocalls because that just upsets people when they get a robocall. So tell your friends when their ballots come, it'll say Greg Raths, retired Marine Colonel. And if you're a Republican and you're in the 73rd Congressional or 73rd Assembly District, I'm also running for Central Committee. So you see my name twice.
I'm looking at this question. I hate to go off topic here, but she's Katie Porter's with Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were, I guess, friends or something.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren was her professor at Harvard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she was her protege. And actually, Elizabeth and Katie Porter also went to work for Kamala Harris during the housing crisis, and a lot of people lost their homes. And while Katie Porter was making $400,000 a year, people were being thrown out of their homes. So we're going to hit her on that.
Can you verify a rumor I heard? Maybe you guys know.
Put me back on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. That she was out campaigning for.
Yeah, she's in New Hampshire right now.
Okay. Yeah, because
helping Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, I know for a fact that there's veterans asking for help with medical care that are unanswered at this very moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it personally.
I'm not surprised.
Waiting for a response.
I don't think she has anybody in her office. I know she had one veteran helping, and he was a Republican because she couldn't find a Democrat to help her veteran. So I don't know if he's still there, but that's number one issue is help the veterans. We can help them because we work through the VA, which is a federal program. And since I'll be a federal legislator and a congressman, I can then help get kids scholarships for the academy, ROTCs, or whatever it takes. So
I love these comments. Don says, "You have my vote, especially because Mark backs you." So thanks, Don. Appreciate that.
Well, somebody likes Mark.
You're getting fans.
All right, I think we should wrap it up.
Okay. Try to go these.
We got any
ones.
people still watching?
Oh, we've got at least 60 to 100 people right now.
Wow. Okay.
We have multiple channels.
I got 12 on mine.
You got 12 on mine. I got 16 over here. On this screen, we have 44 people because we're broadcasting it to multiple places.
Can I give myself a thumbs up?
Yep, of course. We do have a couple more questions. One was about election integrity, but I think you already covered how to fight voter fraud. Greg is for the people. He would be the best congressman. I know you like a lot of those comments.
Get the word out. Like I said, your ballot should be sitting on your desk right now.
Francis Hicks says, "You always be respected. You have common sense, and we all know it is a flower that doesn't grow in everyone's gardens."
Common sense candidate. And I'm a person who you could call and I'll answer the phone.
Yep, that means a lot to me.
If you call my campaign, I answer. Yeah. You don't have to go through my consultant or my company whatever it is, Axiom or whatever they are.
Yeah, that's why I got involved in school board years ago, was because I was ignored as a parent, and I'll bring up one of your endorsements. I heard you got endorsed by Mayor of Irvine.
So I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, I thought you knew that.
No.
So yeah, Christina Shea,
She endorsed me?
I believe so. I'll have to recheck.
Well, yeah,
but,
you better double check with that.
Yeah, I'm close. She's a friend.
All right, I'll talk to
anyway,
her.
I don't want to. Now lost track of what I was going to say.
The county assessor, Claude Parrish, has endorsed me. Obviously, Don Wagner.
Okay.
But those are endorsements. But the biggest endorsements I want is your vote.
Okay. Last few questions here.
Okay.
What do you want residents?
We going too long?
Okay. What do residents need to know about the 45th Congressional District? What do you want the community as a whole to come away from our conversation today? How can they stay engaged?
We're a very safe community and very tight-knit, but we're very conservative, and we're, I wouldn't say we're a very Judeo-Christian community. We do have Muslims in the area, which is great too, but we believe in God. We believe in our religion. And we're just good people. 99.9% of the people in the community are amazing people. There's a few bad apples, and that's why we have police forces. But my job is to keep us secure. Everyone wants to go to church. I want to protect all your liberties. Obviously, your right to speech and freedom of press and to bear arms. I just want our Constitution upheld the way it was written. But my job is to ensure at the federal level that you're taken care of. Obviously, that's a lot of state level, county level, and city levels. But I will do my best because I know everybody, and I know all 10 of the mayors, and I believe all 10 are Republicans. All 10 cities are run by Republicans. Maybe one, I'm not sure about Laguna Woods, are run by Republican, conservative mayors and councils. So Katie Porter does not fit the mold of this district. She is more liberal, more progressive, and likes to spend tons and tons of money on all these social programs. I'm a worker. I've been working since 10 years old. I've been paying taxes since I've been a teenager. And when I send money to the government, I want to make sure it's used correctly and not on some bogus program.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up real quick. What are some of your upcoming campaign events, and where can we find out about those?
You go to our website's upcoming events. We have 4 more fundraisers and meet and greets coming up before Election Day.
Okay.
We have one at OG's in Mission Viejo on the 22nd. We have one on the 26th. It's at our personal someone's house in the backyard. We have a meet and greet at another lady's house this Friday, a beautiful Persian community. They're throwing me a meet and greet. A lot of Democrats. She's bringing a lot of Democrats. They want to hear me talk. And I'm going to mention my views and see if I can get them to vote for me. And she said, hey, yeah, he's a good guy. He's a Republican, but you need to hear him. So she's bringing about 40 of her friends over. Okay. And that's this Friday. Okay. And then the day before Election night, March 2nd, we're going to have our final fundraiser, and then we sit back on March 3rd, and about 8:30 at night, we'll determine whether or not it looks good to go to November, or I should just throttle back, as we say in the military, as an aviation community, and jump on a big cruise boat and go sail the 7 seas. But I would love to serve you. I would love to be your congressman. And you can trust me. I'm a man of integrity and honesty. I won't ever do anything to upset you all.
Okay. I also want to add that if you're watching this here, a lot of Greg's events are posted on his campaign Facebook page. That's where I find out about most of your events. So check out Greg Raths for Congress on the Facebook page, which this is also streaming too. So check out the events tab on this Facebook channel. And then we can also go back and look at his website at the events tab as well. Yeah,
we played that, and a lot of people came on. We'd like to play our last advertisement, our 60-second ad, and I would like if you do have an extra $25, you can buy a T-shirt. If you go to our website, you can buy T-shirts, hats, yard signs. Yard signs we'll send over for free, coffee mugs, things like that. But if you just want to give me a donation, I promise I'll use it responsibly, and I will not waste your money on
let's play your commercial again,
Okay.
because there's a lot of new people that joined us.
Okay.
So this is Last Mission,
My last
final
mission.
edit.
I moved to Orange County in 1978 as a young first lieutenant in the Marine Corps. It was beautiful then, just as it is now. As a jet fighter pilot, I traveled around the world, the Middle East, Australia, the Far East, South America, and Europe. I saw my share of combat. 300 plus carrier landings and 75 combat missions will make you long for solid ground in coming home. In Washington, I've seen how a political crisis like an impeachment can put the country on shaky ground, threatening our unity and our national security. But I've also seen how getting involved can make a difference. As mayor of Mission Viejo, my mission has been to make this great place even better, and I did. Today, my children are having children, and I want them to grow up in a safe environment. As your representative for California's 45th Congressional District, my last mission would be to keep Orange County secure and prosperous for all of our families. I am Greg Raths, and I approve this message.
All right, there we are, and thank you to Cole who helped put that together. A guy named James Gorey, and Luke was our videographer.
Awesome.
And thank you for having me, and thank you for
Okay.
sticking with me on a Thursday night.
Awesome.
And
Yeah, we got a lot of positive comments.
have a great weekend.
So-
Stay safe.
We have the crowd make some noise for everybody.
All right.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people here tonight. So, Greg, I wanted to give you the final words, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay.
So, if you want to say anything else,
That's it. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. God bless you, parents. Take care of your children. They love you. You love them, I know. And I've done all I can here in Mission Viejo to keep your kids safe, and I want to continue to do that at the federal level. So vote Greg Raths. It'll say Greg Raths, retired Marine Colonel, on the ballot under the 45th Congressional District. Different cities have them at different parts of the ballot. Some cities I'm number one, some I'm last, some I'm in the middle. So they kind of rotate it for the different cities. So Greg Raths for Congress. If you do have an extra $20, send it along.
get your reaction to that.
Oh, Christina. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
we just got from Christina Shea that she has endorsed me. Thank you very much, Christina.